So, very good evening. Can you all hear me? Am I audible? Okay, very good. Okay, so first of all, I welcome all of you to the fast track program. Okay, so this is a different program. Last year, for last 3 years, I have done this program. Okay, last year we did for 3 months. Before also we did for 3 months, right? So everyone who has participated got very good results, even district ranks and island ranks. Okay, so it's not an easy task to complete the entire syllabus in 2 months, but I'm trying my maximum, right? I will teach each and every important points in all the chapters, including MCQs and past paper questions. Okay, and if you all have any doubts, if you all want to clarify anything, you all can always drop me a WhatsApp message or call me. I will guide you. Okay, right. So before I start, I'll just brief about myself. Okay, my name is Shihan. I graduated from Jawaharlal University. I got 3 A's and joined the Jawaharlal University, and I completed my degree in specialized in finance. Okay, so and also I have done an IT degree from Colombo University, and I've completed chartered finance and lecturing for ACCA, CIMA, AAT, and some private university bachelor's programs for last 15 years. So that is my background. Okay, so without wasting time, let's go through some important points. Okay, right. Hope you all can see the screen. Can you all see the screen? Yes, good. Okay, so this is our syllabus, right? If we take the accounting syllabus, we have 16 chapters. So in the 16 chapters, grade 12, there are 10 chapters. Grade 12, there are 10 chapters. So if we go through the chapters, introduction, accounting environment, accounting process, then the elements of accounting, accounting equation, then the double entries and ledger accounts. Then one of the key areas in the syllabus, the prime entry books, bank rec, control accounts, and error corrections. In chapter 5, accounting concepts, accounting adjustments, then financial statements, manufacturing accounts, non-profit organization, incomplete records, accounting for partnerships. Okay, so I will send a screenshot of this to the WhatsApp group. Then grade 13, accounting, starting with accounting standards. So important standards are LKS 1, 2, 7, 8, 10, 16, 18, 37, and SLFRS 16. Then we have another main topic, which is limited liability companies, company final accounts, including cash flow statements. So there is a main question from this. ratio analysis, management accounting, then the marginal costing, cost, volume, profit analysis, and finally, we have investment appraisal. So this is your syllabus, right? Okay. So next, now we understood the topics that we need to cover. Okay, there are 16 chapters. So within the next 2 months, we are going to cover each and every part on this. So before we move on, like before we start anything, that it could be accounting, it could be business studies or economic, first you need to have an overall picture about what you are going to do, right? We call it, it's having a bird eye view, right? Whenever I studied, whenever I do any exam, what I did was I have an overall picture about the subject. Okay, now we know there are 16 chapters. Let's go through the past papers, because when you take accounting, subjects like accounting, the questions are based on the past papers. If you do about 10 to 15 past papers, you will understand, right? You will get similar questions. Okay, so the next thing I will explain the past paper analysis. Okay, so that is how I did my exams. Okay, right. So let's go through the past papers. I will share all this. Okay, so yeah, I have taken okay, so this is how you get the question. Now I have analyzed from 2019. Okay, I will share the other 2020, 21 with you after the classes. Okay, so MCQ, you get 50 questions, and part 2, the second part, there are 7 questions, right? Here I have given the year 2019, 2018, 2017. Likewise, it goes up to 2010. Okay, so we will be doing questions from 2010 to 2021. We are trying to do all the past paper questions. Okay, so if you take 2019, right, there are 6 questions. Okay, because in 2019 there was a syllabus change. So before that, there were 7 questions. Now you have 6 questions. Okay, so the first question, if you take the first question, it's company accounts and LKS 1, right? If you take 2018, company accounts, LKS 1, 2017, same, right? So every year, the first question is company accounts and LKS 1. Okay, so that is the first question in second paper. Okay, then the second question is absorption costing, management accounting. So mostly you get absorption costing question in the second paper. And third question is about accounting equation. This is about prime entry books, right? Then question number 4 is also mostly you get payroll, non-profit organization, and prime entry books. Question number 5 from the second paper. Okay, investment appraisal, ratio analysis, marginal costing. So those areas. Question number 6 also from the second paper, ratio analysis, cash flow, those things. Okay, so that is how the second paper questions. Okay, then what we are going to do is, now when I explain one chapter, when we complete one chapter, okay, so we will do the questions related to that chapter. For an example, let's say we are doing accounting equation. So in accounting equation, we analyze all the past papers. Right, in accounting equation, we analyze all the past papers, right? 2019, 18, 17, like this, we analyze and we do all the questions in that particular chapter. So that is how it works. Okay, right. So next we will move to the chapter 1. Right. So today my plan is to complete the first chapter. Right. So grade 12, the first chapter, introduction to accounting, accounting environment, and the accounting process. And also, meantime, I'm going to do the LKS 1 and accounting framework, which is also relevant when we do the past papers. Okay. So I already sent this unit. Okay, introduction to accounting. Introduction to accounting. Right. So I have taken the summary. So this is how I used to study. So what we have done is we have taken the main topic in the middle. Right? Need of accounting is the chapter. Need of accounting, that is the main topic. So under this topic, there are sub chapters, subheadings, right? So what we need to know is what is meant by financial accounting. And there are two types of accounting: financial accounting, management accounting. Then we need to know about stakeholders, accounting process, accounting environment, then accounting elements, important accounting terms, then the bookkeeping, history of accounting, objective of accounting, and the current trends in accounting. And also there is another heading for financial statements. So under that, there are two subheadings: the components of financial statements and the qualitative characteristics of financial statements. So once you complete this part, you will be able to answer any question from this chapter. Okay, once I explain this, we will do the past papers, all the past papers which have come in our exams. Okay, not only A level, I have taken from different other examinations as well. Okay, right. The content, right? So the same thing, right? So let me now, this is very basic thing. Okay, you have done this several times, but I will go from the basics. Okay, what is accounting? Accounting, the complete definition. This is the complete definition for the accounting, right? We call it, it's a function. The function which provides financial information to various parties, to stakeholders. To stakeholders, various parties means stakeholders, to take economic decisions of a business by collecting, recording, classifying, summarizing, and interpreting the financial transactions occurred in an accounting entity. This is a very important definition because in your exam paper, in your A-level paper, the first question in your MCQ, the first question is from this, right? The first, maybe you get about 2-3 questions out of this definition. Okay, so there is a meaning for each and every term. There is a meaning for each and every term. So we start with accounting is a function. So what is meant by a function? Let me explain. Function. A function means it has an input. It has an input, a process, and an output. The function has an input, a process, and output. So what is the input of accounting? So this is a question. They might ask you, what is the input of accounting? Input of accounting is the transactions and it. What is the output of accounting? Output of accounting is financial statements. In the process, what is the accounting process? Collecting, recording, classifying, summarizing, and interpreting. Okay. So input, process, output. And sometimes they might ask you, what is meant by a transaction? What is an event? What is the difference between these two? So let's see what is meant by a transaction. A transaction, right? It is an exchange that is measurable in monetary terms, is made between two parties. So we highlight 3 important features. We highlight 3 important features in a transaction. There are 2 parties involved. There is something which is measurable in monetary terms. Okay. And there is a transfer of resources or services. 2 parties, there is a monetary term, and there is a transfer of resources or services. We call it a transaction. So examples like obtaining a bank loan, payment of wages, payment of electricity, investment of capital, right? So this will result in change in the financial position of assets, liabilities, or equity. So if a transaction happens, there is a change in the asset, liability, or equity. That is where we derive the accounting equation. Okay. Then we have events. So in an event, there is no exchange. Exchange does not take place. There is no exchange, but there is a change in the assets, liabilities, or equity. So we call it, it's an event. Examples, stock damage, right? Depreciation are examples. Okay. I've shared this presentation. Okay. So I was explaining function. So what is a function? A function means there is an input, a process, and an output. Input, process, output. What are the inputs? Transactions and events. Okay. Output, financial statements. So let me explain financial statements later. Okay. The function which provides financial information. Now, here we don't say just information. What is an information? Information is a processed data, right? Information used to make decision. So here, let's learn what is meant by information. Information can be divided into two types: qualitative information and quantitative information. Qualitative. So what is qualitative? Examples, see the examples. The manager is a skillful person. It's a qualitative. The cashier is trustworthy. Qualitative. So what is qualitative? There is no numbers in the information. Information which could not be presented in numbers. Qualitative information. So do we take qualitative information in accounting? Do we take qualitative information in accounting? No. We don't take qualitative information. We take quantitative information. So what is quantitative information? Which you can present in numbers. And we don't take all the quantitative information. It is divided into two: non-financial information and financial information. Non-financial, example, the owner is 60 years old. It's a non-financial. So we don't take non-financial. The manager's experience, 10 years. That is also we don't take. Okay. Then we take only the financial information: the annual profit, total assets, sales. So that is why we say accounting is a function which provides only the financial information. So when defining, we need to properly explain this part. Okay. It's a function which provides financial information to various parties. So this is also another area we get questions. Various parties are called stakeholders. Various parties are called stakeholders. Right? Stakeholders can be divided into two: internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. Internal, there are owners, employees, and the management. External, outsiders, the customers, suppliers, lenders, creditors, media, government institutions, right? So the stakeholders need financial information to take their economic decisions. Now let's learn what is meant by economy. Not general decision. Here, specifically, they have mentioned economic decisions. So what do you learn in economics? Can someone tell me what do you learn in economics? Economics starts with what is the base of economics? What is the main point in economics? Yeah, scarcity. Okay. Right. What is the main point of economy? What do you start? Where do you start economics? Right. Very good. Let's see what is meant by economic decisions. Limited resources, unlimited wants. Yeah, good. Needs and wants. Yes, right. Correct. So you know, economics starts with the scarcity, right? We have limited resources. So we have limited resources: land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, but our wants are unlimited. Our wants are unlimited, right? Then there is a scarcity, right? So we can't satisfy all our wants. Therefore, we need to sacrifice and select the best option. So each and every stakeholder face this problem, because for an example, let's say an employee, right? An employee have to make his economic decision, right? Based on the financial data, based on the financial information. So if the company is making profit, now profit is the financial information, right? The profit is the financial information. So from that information, employee make his economic decision. Then he will decide whether to stay in this business or whether to move to another company, right? Another information he require is the salary, the bonus, the incentive, right? So based on those information, he will make his economic decision. Owners, right? Owners will make their decision, their economic decision, right? Based on the profit, based on the sales, and based on the market share. So if the profits are good, if their market share is good, they will stay in this business. They will keep running the business. But if it is a loss, they might stop the business or they move on to another, another area, another business, right? Even customers, creditors. So all these stakeholders make their economic decision because they have limited resources. An employee has limited time, right? But his requirements are higher. He has more requirements. He need to do a lot of things. So he will have a scarcity and he will choose the best option and sacrifice the rest. So that is why we call it economic decision. So it's a function which provides financial information to various parties to take economic decisions of a business. Right? Then let's learn about business. What is a business? Right. So this is a summary of business. This is useful for your business studies as well. Okay. Business. It has some characteristics. Exchange of goods and services, deals in numerous transaction numbers, values, or monetary transactions. The main objective of a business is profit. They take risk and uncertainties. One of the key characteristics, the businesses takes risk and uncertainties. There is a buyer seller connected to production, marketing, distribution, satisfying human needs and more, and the social obligation. These are some of the characteristics of a business. Okay, so let's see what is the definition. So here is the definition. It is business is an economic activity. So we know what is economic. Economics means limited resources, unlimited wants. So it is an economic activity which is related with continuous and regular. So there should be a continuous transaction and regular. So if somebody buy, let's say you go and buy 10 books and you sell it, it's a one-time transaction. So that is not a business. For a business, there should be a continuous and regular production, distribution. Okay, it could be a production and distribution. And it could be goods or services. Production and distribution of goods and services for satisfying human needs and wants. So we call it, it's a business. Okay, so the business process, if you take the business process, there is input versus output in the business process. Inputs are land, natural resources, human resources, capital, entrepreneurship, knowledge, information, time. Process, it could be manufacturing, assembling, administration, and the output is goods and services. So there can be a question, what is the output of a business? Then earlier we studied what is input of accounting, output of accounting, right? Most of the students, they get confused with these two. Input of accounting, output of accounting, input of business and output of business. Okay, so you need to clearly understand these two. And we classify the businesses profit-oriented and not for profit-oriented. All these are theories. You can just go through the notes which I have said. And also the businesses have different objectives: survival, profit maximization, market profits, business growth, market entry, sales maximization, right? So there are different objectives for business. Okay, so as I said, this is the definition. Economic activity which is related with continuous and regular production and distribution of goods and services to satisfy human needs and wants with profit motive. Okay, so let's go back to our definition. Right, so from one definition, you are learning the entire chapter. Okay, by collecting, recording, classifying, summarizing, and interpreting. This is the accounting process. So this is the accounting process. Okay. So this accounting process only we study in the grade 12. The entire grade 12 chapters are based on this accounting process. Okay. Collecting. What do we collect? When the transactions occur, we collect the transaction, the details of the transactions from the source documents. Collecting source documents. Then recording these transactions in prime entry books. Collecting, recording. Where do you record? In prime entry books. So what are the prime entry books? There are 7 main prime entry books. Right? The cash book, petty cash book, purchases day book, sales day book, return inwards, return outwards, and general journal. So I will explain one by one. Okay, collecting, recording. Then we classify them into the ledger accounts. Classify them into the ledger accounts and summarize through the trial balance. Summarize through the trial balance. And finally, interpreting through financial statements. Interpreting through financial statements. So this is the accounting process which covers grade 12 syllabus. Okay. Then when it comes to financial statements, we prepare the income statement and statement of financial position. All right. So coming back to the definition: collecting, recording, classifying, summarizing, and interpreting financial transactions. So we studied what is transaction. Financial means the transaction which has monetary term occurred in an accounting entity. So what is an accounting entity? Accounting entity means it could be a sole proprietorship, partnership, limited liability company, corporations, right? So we call it accounting entity. So that is about the definition, right? So we write the definition and explain one by one. Each term has an in-depth meaning. Can you go through this? Right. So that's the definition. Then there are some other areas that we need to know. Other areas means where you get questions in your paper. Okay, so one part is the objectives of accounting. What is the objective? Right. So there is a main objective and general objectives. There is a main objective. What is the main objective? Provide financial information to stakeholders to take economic decisions. So most of our questions are based on this. And if you go through the past papers, most of the questions from the main objective. And there are some other general objectives. keep systematic records. Ascertain means calculating the results, showing the financial positions, showing the liquidity position, protecting the properties for rational decision making, and also to satisfy requirements of law. So these are general objectives. So remember, there is a main objective and other general objectives. Then another part where you get questions is from the types of accounting. So overall accounting can be divided into two parts: financial accounting and management accounting. Financial accounting and management accounting. Financial accounting is basically in our syllabus, grade 12 syllabus entirely about financial accounting, and grade 13 LKS up to ratio analysis. It's financial accounting. And chapter 14 to 16 from the management accounting. That means chapter 14, chapter 15, chapter 16, management accounting. Okay. The marginal costing, investment appraisal, and the overhead absorption costing. That part. Difference. Okay. So you will get questions out of this. The difference between financial accounting and management accounting. The information provided in financial accounting is historical, from the historical data. Management accounting, we get historical and mainly the budgeted future. We forecast. Remember, in management accounting, we forecast and give the information. Financial accounting, from the transaction, we provide the past data, past information. Financial accounting used by internal and external, mainly external. Management accounting only internal, only for internal purpose. We don't give the management accounting information for outsiders, only internal. The period, financial accounting, mostly annual financial statements. That yearly we provide financial information. But management accounting, when required, they provide. It could be 1 day, it could be a week, a month, right? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. You know, some projects, you know, government projects and all, they provide the management accounting for 20 years, 50 years, 99 years. Okay. And financial accounting, we follow all the accounting concepts, rules, and regulations. Management accounting, there is not a requirement to follow the concepts, rules, and regulations. So this is also another part you get questions. Normally, if you take the year, financial year, there are two types we use. Calendar year means 1st January to 31st December. That is, everyone knows the calendar year is 1st January to 31st December. But you may have seen most of our questions are given from 1st April to 31st March. The reason behind that is the 31st March is called the tax year. The tax year is calculated from 1st April to 31st March. That is why our company financial account questions are mostly starting from 1st April to 31st March. Okay. Then financial accounting process, we studied that: input, process, output. And management accounting process, the input, process, output. Input, historical and budgeted information. Process, planning, budgeting, controlling. And output, budgeted state. This is also important because I saw in one past paper they have asked about management accounting output of management accounting, and in between they have given an output of financial accounting. Okay, so here outputs, budgeted statements, accounting ratios, common activities analysis, marginal costing information, information for investment decisions. These are the output of management accounting. So I hope you all understood the first part in this chapter. Is it clear for everyone? The accounting definition and what is management accounting, what is financial accounting? If when we do the questions, you will understand. Okay. From this chapter, you will always get MCQs. Right, super. Now, let's move on to the accounting environment. So I'll just show the syllabus. Grade 12, we did accounting introduction. Introduction to accounting, we have done. Accounting process also, I basically did a we went through the process. Now there is another part, accounting environment. Accounting environment. This is also very important. Accounting environment. So let's go through that. Accounting environment. Okay. So this is the concept map. This concept map is given in teacher's guide. Okay. So basically, I use the teacher's guide and past papers. Only those two. So accounting environment, the introduction and the factors. Economic, political. Let me explain in my mind map. This is the accounting environment. So if we take a business, right, you take any business in this world. For any business, environment is very, very important and very, very crucial. Right? The environment, because of the environment, the business could survive or business could achieve very good profits, or maybe businesses will lose. So what are these environmental factors? We call it PESTEL. PESTEL environment factors. PESTEL. PESTEL factors. So what is PESTEL? P is for political, economical, social and cultural, technological, environmental factors, and legal factors. So all these factors, environmental factors, affects the business. Okay, let's take few examples. Now, if we take recent examples, right? Now, due to the COVID, what happened? So that is an environmental factor. Okay, so what happened there? Most of the businesses, they had to close down because people can't travel, right? People can't do their businesses. Okay, but there were some businesses, they have improved. Their sales increased 1,000 times, 2,000 times. Right? Examples like the Zoom platform that we are learning. The number of users increased 2,000, 3,000 times. But some businesses, most of the businesses failed. Right? So let's see how these factors affecting the business. Now see the political factors. When there is no stability, political stability, if there is no political stability, most of the businesses, they can't survive. Foreign investments will not come. Okay, so political factors are very important. Then there is economical exchange rate. Now the dollar rate is increasing. So every day the dollar price is increasing. Right, from 170, 180, it went up to 350, 380, 390. It went up. Okay, so that directly affect most of the businesses which import goods from foreign countries. Right, they can't import. Even now, right now, people can't import. People can't import raw materials. Right, they can't pay dollars. Still, the LCs are not given from the bank. So economical factors, exchange rate, interest rate. What happened to interest rate? Can someone tell me what happened to the interest rate in Sri Lanka? What is the normal, if you want to put a loan or a lease, what is the loan lease interest rate? How much do you all think? What is the current interest rate? If you are taking a loan from a bank, now if you take loan, lease, and all, there is a bank rate. Yeah, it's more than 30%, 35%, 36%. Yes, that it was 10%, 11%, 9%. So that was the rate before about 3 months. 3 months ago, the interest rate for a loan was 10%, 12%. Now it's 35%, 38%. Imagine the difference. You see this, right? So how does it affect the businesses? They can't survive. They are lease, they are rental, everything increasing. Okay. So based on these factors, they have to make strategic decisions in a business. So let's move to social and cultural. The population growth, age distribution, career attitude, life cycle, cultural barriers, health consciousness. So these are all, affecting businesses. So that is why most of the businesses, they change their strategies. Right? They might do some business, but they change the strategy because of the change in environmental factors. Right? Later I will explain further examples. Technology, innovation. What is R&D? R&D activities. What is R&D? Can anyone tell? Yes, it's research and development. Okay, so technology, the improvement of technology happens because of the research and development. Okay, so technology change, tech awareness, improvement of tech awareness, automation, incentives, tech incentives. So all these are the factors of technological environment. Finally, there is legal, employment law, consumer protection law, copyright, patent, health and safety. All these will affect the businesses. Right. Now let's do an example. So if you take technological factors, now the world is changing. Okay, these are the things we used when we were small. When we were small, we used all these things. Right? Now, the environmental factors, the technology and everything has changed. Now we don't see any of these. If you take Nokia phone, was the #1 mobile phone in the world. When we were small, Nokia is one of the best phone company. Now, where is this company? Where is this company? What happened to that? Can you tell me what happened to this number one mobile phone in the world, Nokia? What was their mistake? What was their mistake? What is the wrong decision that they made? They didn't adapt to the technology. Yes, they didn't accept the Android technology. They didn't do market research. Yes, exactly. So environment change is important. If you are not changing for the environment, if your business or even personally, right? If you are not accepting the change and adapting for the change, you can't survive in the world. Even though you are the number one in the world, you can't survive. So it's very important for every company, every business to change and develop and adjust and adapt to the changing world, right? Even this Kodak is number one company to provide film rolls. Okay, even in future you might have seen everybody is using mobile phone for photographs, right? Then if you see brands like businesses like Nikon, Canon, right? They have to make some strategic decisions because everybody is now, most of the people, they don't want to carry a DSLR camera. So people prefer a mobile phone. So they might have to change their technology and they might have to come to a mobile friendly camera. Okay, so likewise, everything is digitalizing. So these are some trends, current trends: digitalization, online businesses, data. Okay, even when you are studying something now, the future is completely IT related, information technology, right? So even though when you are studying for your higher studies, you are selecting a course. So select something which is for future, right? There are courses like data analytics, data science. So that is the demand. Okay, we will discuss that later. Okay, right? So see this business, how the business has developed, right? So there were companies. If you take Apple, if you take Samsung, right, Coca-Cola, these companies, they were in the market for 100 years, 200 years, very long time. You take Toyota, BMW, right? These brands, these businesses were there for 100, 200 years. But if you take Facebook, Booking.com or Alibaba, these companies recently came to the market, but they are earning more than these big companies. Why? What is the reason? Right? Because it is the technology is future. Even when you are studying something, if you are learning something, if you learn what is there earlier, right? All things, your income, your return will be less. But if you learn something, which is useful for future, your earnings, your returns will be high. So that is how these most of the companies within 2-3 years they became top companies in the world. Okay, later I will explain some important stories about different companies. Okay, so this is an example. This is a question which I'm going to discuss about accounting environment. Now you might have seen this. About 10 years, 15 years ago, most of the people, we had only these bikes. We had bikes 10, 15 years ago, we had bikes. Okay. Then there was an environmental change and the Scooty came to the market. So can you all tell me what are the environmental factors which affected from bikes to Scooty? From these environmental factors, you have to tell what environmental factors affected from this to this. Technology. Okay, good. Tell me, some, like, don't say technological, what technology? Social and cultural means what happened in social and cultural uh, environment. What happened? Like, for an example, we can say in social and cultural, uh, women education, women empowerment increased. Therefore, this is more friendlier to women. So they used to, it's easy for them. So they used to use the Scooty. And technology wise, this there is a charger, you can keep your helmet, right? Lifestyle changes. Yes. Right. Yeah. Good. Okay. And so basically, most of the social and cultural and economical, because that is, if you take fuel, economic factors increasing. And also another thing we can see is most of the people, it's very difficult to ride this, right? They rather going in a bike, they were using a car, some, you know, executives and all. So they can actually ride easily the scooter. So there are different factors which affected, and safety wise also, yes, this is much convenient. Right. So the final part I will explain in this, the accounting elements. Okay, after the accounting elements, we'll have a break. After that, we'll do the past payments. We'll do questions. Uh, right. So this is the tool which I have already sent. So this has the full what I have explained. I have put it into this. Okay, you all can go through and have your own note. Take a separate book for our fast track program. Okay. When I complete one chapter, write down the mind maps which I give. Okay, like this need for counting, this mind map, and write down all the sub topics and the important points related to each topic. Okay. This is each and everything I have explained. So you can just write it here. Under this, you can write stakeholders, definition, If you need any clarifications, right, just let me know. I will explain. Right. Now we are moving to the elements of financial statements. This is another important part. So shall we have a break? After the break, I will explain. 7:12. We'll have about 10 minutes break. Okay. So 7:20. Yeah, 7:25 will start. I will be here. Okay, if you want, you can ask doubts. We will just start 7:25. So in between, you can do the MCQ. I have sent the link for the online MCQ. This, you can do this. Okay, you can start doing this, and I'll start at 7:25. All these are past papers, right? All from past papers. Let's see how many marks you all can get. Right. So we can start now. Okay. So here, once we are done with the class, you can do this MCQ. So share this in the WhatsApp. So this has accounting framework and introduction to account. Okay. So let's move on. Counting elements. This is also another area where we get MCQ questions. Counting elements. There are two things. Accounting elements and components of financial statements. So this is also called components, elements of financial statements. Right? Assets, liabilities, income, expenses, and capital. Okay, so starting with assets. So to remember assets, right? So remember a definition, you need to understand the important characteristic in this definition. So when you talk about asset, asset has three characteristics. Number one, present economic resource. It's a present economic resource. Economic resource means it has a right to produce economic benefits. From an asset, you can produce economic benefits. Then we call it it's a present economic resource. Number two, controlled by the entity. Controlled by the entity. Number three, result of past events. So three important points, important characteristics: present economic resource, controlled by the entity, result of past events. Assets can be divided current and non-current. Liabilities, same way you can remember. Present obligation of the entity. Number one, present obligation. Transfer an economic resource and result of past event. Transfer of economic resource. Now, to settle a liability, you have to give your economic resource. To settle a bank loan, you have to pay money. Right? So what is an obligation? Obligation means it's a responsibility that entity has no practical ability to avoid. You can't avoid an obligation. You have to settle that. Liability is divided into current and non-current. So most of the past paper questions, if they are asking elements, they ask assets and liabilities. So very important, assets, definition of asset, definition of liability. Remember characteristics, okay? Three characteristics. Income, there is a small typing error. This should change. Here it should expense, this should income. Okay. So expenses means decrease in economic benefits. Income means increase in economic benefits. So as a result, assets will increase or liability will decrease for income. Expenses, assets will decrease or liability will increase. Or finally, it will affect the equity. So when it comes to income, now I'm going to go to the financial statement from this. Income, there are two types of income. Income is divided into two: sales income and other income. Sales income means from the sales, we deduct any return, sales returns. So that is sales income. Other income means any other income that comes to the business: rent, interest, dividend, investment income, discount received. So we will later we will learn from the income statement. So remember, income is divided into the main income of a business is sales, and they might have any other income. Expenses, the main expense of a trading business is called cost of sales. The main expense of a trading business. We are mostly doing questions from trading businesses, right? So their main expense is cost of sales, and all other expenses are called expenses. Then the expenses are divided into four categories: administration, distribution, finance, and other expenses. So later we will learn one by one. Okay. Accounting elements: assets, liabilities, income, expenses. Finally, we have capital. Capital means the proportion of assets owned by the owners. The assets belongs to the owners, which is equals to assets minus liabilities. So from here, we derive the accounting equation. We derive the accounting equation. Another way to calculate the capital is opening capital plus net profit minus drawings. So get the closing capital. This is, I have given this because later we need this accounting elements. Okay, most important, this. Right. Now let's move to this is the accounting process. Okay. Collecting, recording, classifying, summarizing, interpreting. Right. The financial statement. This is also another area where we get a lot of questions. Every year there is a question from this financial statements. Right. As I said, financial statements, 5 elements already I explained. Then there are 5 components of financial statements. So what are the components? Statement of comprehensive income, statement of financial position, statement of changes in equity, statement of cash flow, and notes. There are 5 components. Right? When we prepare company final accounts, we will do all these 5 elements and components. Then the qualitative characteristics. So if you go through the past papers, always they check the qualitative characteristics. Very important, very, very important. Qualitative characteristics. Okay. So what are these qualitative characteristics? There are fundamental characteristics and enhancing characteristics. There are only 2 fundamental characters. 2 fundamental characters: relevance and reliable. relevance. Sorry. Change. So, right. Relevance and faithful representation. Okay. We don't call it reliable now. It is called faithful representation. Yeah. Relevance and faithful representation. Relevant means the information should be relevant for the business. It should be relevant for our decision making. Faithful representation means it should be accurate and precise. This faithful representation. Right? And it has 3 sub points: complete, neutral, and free from errors. Qualitative characteristics. Okay. So these 2 are called fundamental characters. Fundamental characters. Then the enhancing characters. Comparability. You should be able to compare. Right? This year financial statement, we should be able to compare with previous year financial statement. And also, we should be able to compare our financial statement with a competitor. Right? Dialog, Mobitech. Compare. Right? Understandable. Easy to understand. Now, if you take financial statements, right, company financial statements, it doesn't have debit credit, because most of the people, they don't understand debit and credit. You will understand because you are doing accounts, but people don't have accounting background. They don't understand debit and credit, but they understand plus minus. That is why when we are preparing financial statement, we prepare a statement, comprehensive income statement. So in income statement, what is the format? Sales minus cost of sales, gross profit, plus other income, minus expenses, so that people can understand. If you put it as debit credit, now in O level, you have debit and credit, 2 sides. Right? It's difficult to understand for some people. Timeliness. You have to provide within the time frame. And verifiable. Can be verified. How do you verify financial statements? Using the source documents. Okay. And here are the components. Here I have given the income expenses categories. Okay. You can just go through that. There is a question. There is a question. So what does complete and neutral in faithful representation? Complete information means, now when providing the information, it should be a complete information. Now let's say you are getting your results, A-level results, right? They are telling, okay, exam dates, right? Exams will be held on November. Incomplete, dates are missing, right? So when providing an information, it should be complete information. Then what is neutral? Neutral in a vehicle, what is called in neutral? Neutral means unbiased. See this photograph. What can you see? Is it a neutral? What is really happening is different. What is shown in the media is different. This is called, this is not neutral. This is a biased. What you want, you show. So neutral means unbiased. Okay. Now you all can start doing it. So you all can start doing these questions. Now I have taken questions. This assignment one is based on some past papers. This is from A level. So these questions I have taken from A level papers. And AAT past papers also have a lot of questions from introduction to accounting, need of accounting. Then I've taken from chartered past papers. Right, so you will have an overall understanding. Once you are done with a chapter, you can answer any of these questions. Right, the way the questions are asked is different, but no, it's not hard. And also I've taken some questions from CIMA, CIMA, and ACCA as well. Okay, so almost I think 107 questions. Okay, so before that, introduction to accounting part is done. All the main areas are covered. Now let me explain the accounting framework, because the questions which I have given, it has some questions related to accounting framework. So we can finish that as well. Right. Financial reporting framework and LKS 1. So this is the structure. There are only few things that you need to understand in this accounting framework. Number one, objective of general purpose financial reporting. Objectives of financial statements, simply objectives of financial statements. And number two, underlying assumptions. Qualitative characteristics, already I explained what is qualitative characteristics. Elements of financial statements, elements, that is also we did. Components. Number 6, recognition of elements of financial statement. Recognition of elements and measurement of elements. Right? I'm taking this chapter because we can cover almost all the MCQs related to this. Similar type of questions. Only 6 parts. Objectives, underlying assumption, qualitative characteristics, elements, components, recognition, measurement. Right. Objectives. Objectives of general purpose financial reporting. Now there is something called general purpose. Right. There is general purpose, specific purpose. General purpose means the financial statement which we provide for all the stakeholders. So we mainly use general purpose financial statements. Specific purpose means the financial statements which are prepared for specific people, for banks, for investors, right? For any other regulatory bodies, we prepare specific purpose. But in the LKS 1, the accounting framework, LKS 1, we speak about general purpose financial statements. Okay. So what is the objective? Objective already we studied. To provide financial information about the reporting entity that is useful to existing and potential investors, lenders, creditors, that means stakeholders, in making decisions about providing resources to entities. Simply, we studied the definition of accounting. Under definition of accounting, the main objective of preparation of financial statement is to provide financial information to stakeholders to make economic decisions. That is the objective. Okay, I'll repeat it. To provide financial information to stakeholders to make economic decisions. Right? Objectives. This is the one I have given earlier also. Main objective. Provide financial information, various financial decisions, and to control use of resources. You can remember that one, the initial definition. Okay. This is just to go through. Right. So this is also another common questions which normally check in the exam. What is the underlying assumption in accounting? Underlying assumption in accounting is going concern. Remember, underlying assumption in accounting is going concern. Going concern. So what is going concern? We assume that the business will continue for a foreseeable future. We are not going to liquidate or close down the business. Right? We are foreseeable future means very long period. No plans to discontinue the business. We are planning to continue the business for a long time. So that is the reason assets and liabilities are divided current and non-current. If you have a plan to close down the business, all your assets, liabilities become current, short term. But if you have a going concern, then you can divide your assets, liabilities, current and non-current. Because you are not going to sell immediately. Underlying assumption is going concern. If you have any doubts, ask me. Okay. Then qualitative characteristics, already we did. Relevant, faithful representation, comparable, understandable, timeliness, verifiable. 2, fundamental, and 4, enhancing. Elements of financial statements, that is also I did. Assets, liabilities, capital, income, expenses. That is why I took this chapter also into introduction part. So we can cover up this. Components. Okay. Now, this is an additional part. Recognition of the elements of financial statement. How do you recognize an asset? How do you recognize a liability? Right. So this is, I have given, this is for asset. How do you recognize an asset? To recognize an asset, there should be a future economic benefit. Remember this term. If you want to recognize an asset, you should have a future economic benefit. Right? The probability of future economic benefit. And the second part is measurement. You should be able to measure reliably. So 2 points: future economic benefit, reliable measurement. To recognize an asset, in the financial statement, you should have 2 points. One is future benefit, future economic benefit, and reliable measurement. And if you want to recognize a liability, future outflow of resources and reliable measurement. Right? So those two we need to remember when recognizing the assets or liability. So this is the last part, the measurement. How can we measure? How can we measure? Mainly, we use historical cost method. When preparing financial statements, we use the historical cost, right? If you see in financial statements, we have cost, right? Amount we spend, that is the amount we record. But there are some other bases we can use. Current cost, current market price can be used, or realizable value. The inventory, we use net realizable value, expected selling price minus expected selling expenses. The inventory, we can use net realizable value or present value, NPV. We can use any of these measurement bases. So these are the areas we cover under LKS 1. There are some past papers from different. Shall we do few questions from this? Right. So this is from a AAT paper. Okay. They're asking, can you all tell me the answer? Right. Qualitative characteristics and enhancing characteristics. So, sorry, they ask you explain to qualitative that enhance the usefulness of financial information. So, enhancing 4 characters. Okay. So let's do another question from the. Let's do some A-level questions. So this is how you get. Okay. Right. Can you all tell me the answer for this? 2017. What is the main purpose of financial accounting in a firm? To provide information to managers, to provide the government, auditors. So it's very simple. Everyone can give the correct answer to provide information to external stakeholders. So we know who are the external stakeholders. We studied financial accounting, management accounting. So first question, always see MCQ. Question number 1 is very simple, very basic, right? About objective. Good. So everyone gave the correct answer. Very good. 2016. Do all these three. Question number 27, 28, and 29. Tell me the answers for these three. When giving the answer, just type question number and the answer. Thanks. 27, 28, 29. Main purpose of account. Is 7, 8 purpose of account. Main purpose to prepare financial reports, communicate information to decision making stakeholders. 27, answer is 5. So everyone the correct answer. Good. 27. 2 is not an answer. Record transactions, no. Record, that is not the objective. Recording is a part of the process. Communicate, to provide. You have to read carefully, okay? They are saying record, it's not. enhancing qualitative characteristics. So we studied what is enhancing, what is fundamental. No, and enhancing. 28. This is faithful representation. Carefully read the question. Okay, they're asking which is not an enhancing. Right? There are two fundamental: relevance, faithful representation. So faithful representation is not an enhancing. $29. Which of the following statement is correct in relation to the accounting process of a firm? Is correct. Accounting process. So we didn't individually do it, but I hope you all can do this question. What is the answer for 29? Correct. 29, I got the answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have all the answers. What is the correct answer? 29. I didn't teach some areas, but just try to give the answer. Also do 30. Okay, let's check the answer. Which of the following statement is correct in relation to the accounting process of a firm? The petty cash book is also used as a ledger account of the firm. Petty cash book, it has debit, credit, and it can be used as a ledger account. Is correct. You can use the petty cash book as a ledger account. That is correct. All source documents are prepared by the accountant. That is wrong. The purchaser's journal is used to record all assets purchased, not all assets. If you purchase fixed assets, we don't record in the purchaser's journal. So that's wrong. The agreement of the trial balance of the accuracy of its accounting process. Wrong. If the trial balance is equal, we can't say everything is the accounting process, everything is accurate. Okay, so that is also wrong. To summarize, sorry. Give me a minute. The summarized information relating to credit sales of goods is recorded in the debtors control account. Credit sales goes to debtors control account. This is also correct. So in this question, there are two correct answers. Sometimes it happens. Okay, both the answers are correct. Then 2015 error. Which of the following statement is correct in relation to primary function of financial accounting? Primary function. So let's see the answers. 13,331. It records the transactions of a firm in the books of accounts in monetary terms. Prepare special purpose. Answer is it prepares general purpose reports for the use of stakeholders of a firm. So question number 30, answer is 3. Okay, right. So I want you all to do the complete MCQ, okay, which you can find this one. Okay, counting frame. I'll send the link again in the group. Okay. So during the remaining time, I want you all to complete this framework, accounting introduction and framework. Let's see how many marks you all can get. Once you are done, okay, let's say you answer this, you can do this in your phone. Okay. Once you answer this, just submit. I think I'll put this. You have to submit. then you can see the scores. Okay, so total points, you will get it here and see why the answers are wrong. Okay, we'll see how many marks you can get from 108. And also, you have been added to the Google Classroom. Google Classroom, I sent an email. If you didn't get the email, drop me a WhatsApp message. I'll fix it. So once you go to the Google Classroom, this you can check in your phone. So all your classworks, I will upload here, right? Chapter 1, the mind maps are here. I'll add more. And the notes, there's the tube and 2 presentations, PowerPoint presentations, and the online MCQ. Once you click the MCQ, it goes to the MCQ part. Then the lecture recordings, once I am done with the session, I will upload the lecture recording here. So you will have everything in this classroom. Even in mobile phone, even in your mobile, you can use this. If anyone having doubts, drop me a message. Okay. Right. So today I will conclude the session from this. Next, we will have the class on Thursday and Friday, 6 p.m. Okay. Any questions? Did you all understand? How is it clear? I would like to get some of your comments. So this is today I did only the theories, right? We will do the calculation parts from next week onwards. So other than this main session, I will be doing another separate session for MCQs, right? So that I will let you know by next week. From next week onwards, we will, other than this theory revision, this fast track, we will do a separate MCQ only session. Okay. I will inform about that next week. Okay. So take care and good night. I'll see you next Thursday, 6 p.m. Thursday and Friday, 6 p.m. Okay.